More new video now for you to see. CENTCOM showing Operation Epic Fury strikes in Iran today. The Islamic Republic has now attacked at least 12 nations. And that has sparked fury among those countries that had been at least neutral, if not friendly, toward Iran. Great Britain has been reluctant to directly support United States and Israeli strikes. That's changed a bit since Iran hit a British Air Force base this week. And right now, England's defense minister is in Cyprus visiting that base. American stealth bombers are reportedly expected to land at UK military bases within days to join the fight. Iran also launched an attack on Azerbaijan today. That's the neighbor to the north. Azerbaijan officials are saying 2 drones hit an airport and outside a school. The country closed the airspace near Iran, and the defense minister is promising retaliation now against Iran. Gulf state leaders are saying they've intercepted hundreds of Iranian missiles like these over Doha, Qatar. As we have been seeing, some are getting through air defenses. Iran's regime apparently striking indiscriminately, civilian or military. They're blowing everything up that they can. The White House smacking down the suggestion that the U.S. operation was unnecessary. Watch this.
Why is it that across the administration you can't say what the imminent threat against the United States was that required us to launch this?
I am out here today to explain to you exactly what led the president to make the decision to launch Operation Epic Fury. And President Trump does not make these decisions in a vacuum. This decision to launch this operation was based on a cumulative effect of various direct threats that Iran posed to the United States of America. And the president's feeling based on fact that Iran does pose an imminent and direct threat to the United States of America.
Chief National Security Correspondent Jennifer Griffin. Jennifer.
Harris, the Iranian strategy is to widen the war and to force the U.S. and its allies to burn through its valuable and limited supply of high-tech missile interceptors, to raise oil prices by threatening ships in the Strait of Hormuz. That is why you are seeing strikes in Turkey and now Azerbaijan. The international airport, as you mentioned, hit in Azerbaijan, and just moments ago, explosions in Abu Dhabi near Zayed International Airport. The UAE has been hit more than any other Middle Eastern ally. Qatar today said it intercepted 13 Iranian ballistic missiles. Bahrain faced 124 drones in the last 24 hours, destroying 88. The rest, we're told, fell in the water. There is some concern that Iran is holding back firing some of its ballistic missiles to extend the length of the war. This new video from U.S. Central Command posted overnight shows U.S. forces striking some of Iran's mobile missile launchers. Iran, however, has built large underground sites to store and launch their ballistic missiles from. These underground cities that you can see from video that we've obtained from January 2025, it's welcome news that they are still using these underground missile launchers for the U.S. military, which has the ability now to drop large 2,000-pound bombs and even bunker busters to destroy these vast underground missile cities, if you will. Iran has more than a dozen of these underground sites, we have learned. In a historic first, the U.S. used in combat for the first time, something you're seeing right here. These are long-range precision strike missiles called PRISMs, which were developed to replace tactical ballistic missiles. They fly at incredibly high speeds and can hit time-sensitive targets. They fly hundreds of miles further than the ATACMS, which the U.S. military had used, and they only had a 186-mile range, still pretty far. This PRISM destroys targets more than 310 miles away. One launch pad holds 2 PRISM rounds. Last night, the Pentagon released the name of a 5th American soldier killed in Kuwait. Major Jeffrey O'Brien, a resident of Waukee, Iowa, commissioned in the Army Reserve as a Signal Corps officer in 2012. The Pentagon said Chief Warrant Officer 3 Robert Marzan is the 6th American believed to have been killed in that March 1st drone attack on Port Shuaibah in Kuwait. Given the seriousness of the injuries, Harris, the death toll could rise from that attack. Harris?
Well, we know that there are 6 total. We've learned the names of 5, and our prayers are with all of those families who have lost their loved ones in this. Jennifer, thank you. Let's go now and focus to Brett Velicovich, former Army Special Operations soldier. He served multiple tours in Iraq and Afghanistan and is also now a Fox News contributor. Brett, we're looking at Beirut Live right now, and I want to get your thoughts on, first of all, I mentioned the people. So they've started to move out of the way in southern Lebanon and places like that. But talk to me about that and its role in Iran versus, it looks like the rest of the region now because it keeps firing on everybody.
Well, Harris, one of the most revealing facts coming out of the last 24 hours is that Iran's attacks have now touched 12 countries, from UAE to Azerbaijan. That tells you everything about the nature of the Iranian regime. This is not a country defending itself anymore. It's a regime exporting chaos in every direction. It's a regime full of psychopaths that should not exist in modern society. And while our military conducts precision strikes on the tyrants in Iran, they are busy bombing girls' schools in the midst of their own chaos and killing more innocents. And Harris, Iran's strategy has always been this death by 1,000 cuts, launch a few drones here, arm a proxy militia there, threaten shipping lanes somewhere else. But that strategy only works if the United States hesitates, which we've always done before. But we are done abandoning our red lines. And it's clear our leadership is no longer going to play nuclear roulette with this regime. And the administration is sending the opposite message. We're watching the entire chessboard. We're prepared to respond wherever American interests are threatened. America's warriors right now are continuing to deliver retribution for thousands of killed by that regime with unmatched power. And when the Pentagon starts moving senior leadership towards the theater, like they've done with Secretary Hegseth, adversaries should start really reconsidering their life choices.
Interesting. Interesting. I was just going to say, we heard this from the CENTCOM commander, Brad Cooper, and we also heard it from the Joint Chiefs of Staff Chairman Raising Cane. And that is the fact, and now we know more about them. Those prison-long ballistic missiles, pulling back a little bit and doing this with a different strategy now. Some 300 miles they can hit a target with those missiles, and it allows you to do some different things in a tighter circle, but from farther away. Can you talk to me about the strategy of that and what phase that means we're in right now?
Well, we're in a phase where we're going to continue to pound them to the point where they cannot reconstitute their army and respond fast enough. We have a number of countries now that are responding also. You have multiple regional actors like Israel, other countries as well, that frankly were silent before, that are now openly pushing back against Tehran's influence. And that just shows you how destabilizing their behavior has been for decades. We've got region now finally pushing back. Countries that stayed neutral are realizing you can't appease this regime that treats the entire Middle East like its own firing range. And so when one regime manages to attack a dozen countries in a week, the problem isn't escalation. The problem is that the world tolerated this for way too long. And so we are dismantling their machinery, their missile facilities, their air defenses, their proxy armies, and so that we're never going to have to pay a price at our domestically.
Does it give a chance for those people now like Azerbaijan to then fold in and do what they need to do to protect their own people and put up those missiles or whatever they're going to do? Just a quick yes or no.
Yeah, I think the strength of Western security has always been collective defense. And so, especially as we're seeing drone strikes on other locations, that's going to warrant a larger network coming together to defeat this Iranian regime once and for all.
Brett Velicovich, thank you very much. Always good to have you. Be sure to like and subscribe for all the Fox News latest on YouTube and catch full shows streaming now on Fox One.